I'm going to hand over to Una Johnson. She's the UK and Ireland rep for South by Southwest, who is going to sell you South by Southwest in 10 minutes.
Because of the show of hands earlier, with such a strong focus on the artist side of things, I'm going to kind of focus the presentation that I'm going to do on the showcase application side of South by Southwest. So I'm hoping that the information that you've got in terms of the little flyers that I've handed out earlier will give you a broad overview, and so I'm not going to go into much detail on the event itself, and I'll try and focus more on the showcase application process. Okay. What I have up on the screen at the minute is just the Scottish bands that played at South by Southwest this year, just to, really highlight, I suppose. We've got, over a number of years, we've had a really diverse range of Scottish artists playing South by Southwest. It's been really brilliant. I would have to say that the quality and quantity of Scottish artists at South by Southwest has been fantastic. So your first decision, I guess, you want to make is knowing if the time is right. And really, that's a really important decision that you're going to have to make, because you only really get one time out of blocks. You've really got to decide if your momentum, you've built up enough of a head of steam locally and in the UK, and then you're ready to translate that success into an international environment. So, and having specific goals that you want to achieve internationally is very important, and that you've got funds to get you there, because any grants that you may get will only cover part of it, so you're going to need to have some funds. So the fact that we're here talking about it now means that you can kind of maybe do some fundraising between now and then. Making your application stand out. The application process is now open. It's been open since August, and you apply via Sonic Bids, and so you're going to put your EPK, your electronic press kit, up on Sonic Bids. So we're really looking for those super buzz up-and-coming acts. We're looking for bands with a growing fan base and significant live experience. You've got the basic business infrastructure. You've got defined goals. You've got a sense of how you're going to make it work for you. So I would really kind of urge you, if you're sort of thinking twice, is the time right? And it's hard because a lot of people might be applying. So you might say, well, sure, if everybody's applying, then maybe I should apply too. But really, with 10,000 bands going into the system, I think you need to decide how you're going to make an impact to South by Southwest, to the listening team that are listening to you. They are going to scrutinise your application. So you have to show that you care. You have to stand out from the crowd. So is it affordable? Now, we'll be talking about this later after the break. So just to give you a fright, I would say you'd need about £9,000 for a 4-piece band to go to South by Southwest for 5 days. Now, you could do it cheaper than that, and there are ways to keep the cost down, but really you have to see it as an investment in your career. So that's why you really want the whole process has to be about getting your ducks in a row and making sure that you are going to achieve and really get some positive outcomes for your investment. South by Southwest starts sending out invitations generally in November. This year, for the UK, they are going to make an exception, and they're going to start sending out invitations in the middle of October. And this is to really give you guys the maximum amount of time to get your visas and production and everything ready. It's been a real nightmare trying to get the whole visa thing has been very difficult this past year. But we have promised our friends in UKTI that we will start sending out invitations from October 15th. Now, the problem with that is last year 75% of UK bands applied after October 15th. So if you're thinking of applying, you really need to apply soon, okay? Like before October 15th. You're going to have to respond to the invitation without knowing where you're going to play and when you're going to play. You've just got to keep the 4 days of the festival free. Don't go to print on any promotion until your showcase is finalised. When should you confirm flights? Again, immediately upon receipt of invitation. This is something that you should do. You have to kind of be committed to this whole thing. You can't kind of go, oh, I'll apply and decide if I'm going to kind of move to the next stage. You sort of have to be committed to move through the process. You've got a great resource here in Glasgow with the tour company, and I would urge you to use them for your travel needs and not to buy the cheapest ticket on the internet, even though that may seem like the obvious thing to do. But you will have specific airline needs in terms of choices of options, flexibility, baggage allowance, emergency contacts, things like that. So you really are better off paying a little bit extra and getting a service from a reputable company. How best to promote a showcase? This is the kind of thing you're thinking about in January and March, and we would urge you to think of a showcase slot at South by as a valuable commodity. So finding a strong media hook around your story is very important. There's lots of opportunity to generate exposure through the social media networks, and South by Southwest has its own full share of Facebook, Twitter, MySpace pages. But really, your registered delegate who is there on your behalf, if you're a band, you're going to need your manager to be registered to work the South by Southwest on your behalf, because you're going to be busy having a good time and playing your showcase and other gigs. So you do need a business representative at South by Southwest. I would recommend to everybody that you check out bandcentral.com. It's a company that I found out about last year, and they came to South by Southwest as a client, and they're a really nifty project management tool for artists. And the guy who set it up, he is an artist himself. You can use it obviously throughout the year for all of your needs, but for South by Southwest, which I think you need to adopt a kind of military operation to make it work, this is a really good tool. So that's my tip. Also, that there's a potential role for everybody in the band, so you can really muck in and organise everything together. Really getting your stage production is really important. You've got to have a 40-minute killer set lined up with, your production needs all sorted out and simplified so that you can hit the stage and be confident, because the stress is going to be so much that you're going to really need to keep things simple. So you can play other gigs, but we want your showcase experience to be a positive one. There are second play opportunities now at South by Southwest in a number of different ways, different stages at hotels and at different places within the convention centre. There's also party opportunities, and we'll talk about that after the break. But we do ask you to consider the effect that any other shows may have on your showcase. So, if you're a kind of band where after, 4 or 5 days in a place like Austin where you're going to lose your voice, or, the band are going to be really tired, I've seen it happen, and if the showcase is on the Saturday, by the time Saturday comes around, the band are not in really great shape. So you need to play that one a little bit strategically. Don't play at the opening of an envelope, pick your gigs. The British Music Embassy, we'll talk about that after the break. But just in terms of other gigs, you can't do other evening shows, you can do other day shows, but not nighttime shows. Like Meedem, we want to encourage a year-round relationship with you. The great thing about Austin is that it is a live music capital of America 365 days a year, so a lot of people make great connections that last them, that go on. I know of bands who've toured the UK with people that they met in Austin, so there is a great resource there. And your key dates here, August 1st, showcase applications open. September 24th, your early bird registration. Mid-October is when we're going to start sending out the first UK invitation, so you really need to be in the system in the next couple of weeks. November 5th is your showcase application deadline. Your deadline for your visa cut-off point, if you want to avoid the $1,000 premium charge, is sometime in the middle of December. We start sending out invitations to international artists in the middle of December, generally, because we know you need time. All artists are notified of their status by the end of January, so in short, that means if you don't get invited, you will hear from us by the end of January. February 11th is your last day to register before walk-up rate, and March 16th to the 20th are the dates of South by Southwest 2011. I'm happy to correspond or phone, with anybody at any time. I'm open to any questions that you may have. Thanks a lot.